What's up, everybody? Anton Kraly here from dropshiplifestyle.com, and I gotta be honest, I was kind of struggling with what I was going to title this video because what we're really gonna talk about are different ways to fulfill orders on dropship stores. So like it says in the title, we're gonna be talking about using Shopify, Oberlo, Amazon. We're even gonna talk about using domestic suppliers, but the truth is what this video is really about and what I wanna get across to you by the end of it is exactly what it says on the screen, and that is how to build a brand that provides real value to your customers and to your bank account. So not a burner store, not something that's gonna make you money for maybe a couple weeks if you're lucky, but something that's gonna only grow and compound over the years and still be a business you'll be proud to call your own in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and hopefully well into the future. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get into this week's episode of Dropship Weekly. Okay, so if you're serious about e-commerce, which again, I'm assuming you are, if you're watching this video following Dropship Lifestyle, then that should be where you're at right now. But the first question that you have to ask yourself is what's the most important factor in building a successful long-term brand? So seriously think about that. And if you want to leave what you think it is below in the comments, go ahead and do that. Oh, and by the way, speaking of comments, we're trying something new here with Dropship Weekly. So what we're going to do next Thursday is we're going to randomly pick a comment from below this video, and we're gonna ship that person one of these Dropship Lifestyle hoodies. So pretty cool. It's like a American Apparel hoodie. Really good quality, like super comfortable. So again, you can leave a comment, either guess what this is or just, leave any comment. Again, we're gonna randomly pick a winner next Thursday, ship them one of these hoodies for free. So pretty cool. But okay, what do you really think this is, right? You wanna build a business, again, that's bigger than it is now in a year, that's bigger in 5 years, that's still around in 10 years. What is gonna make that happen, okay? And I get different answers from people all the time. They'll be like, oh, it's traffic, it's suppliers, like people say all different things. But here's the truth, guys. If you want to build a long-term business, the key is having happy customers. When people actually trust you, when people decide to give you money, when they trust your business, they have to actually like what you provide them, okay? This is going to lead to long-term success, not only because they're going to leave positive reviews for you, but they're also going to talk about your business. And honestly, it's good karma, and it really does add up over the years. On the other hand, if you're giving people a bad experience, if you're not good with customer service, if you have long shipping times, if items are subpar quality, if they're damaged when they arrive, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get bad reviews, you're gonna have people tell other people that they shouldn't trust your company, that they had a bad experience, and it's not gonna lead to anything long term, okay? So if you wanna be around for the long haul, you need to keep your customers happy. So let's give an example now of all of these different business models and how they kind of fall into this, right? So I made this little diagram on the screen right now, and it starts with our little emoji woman. We're gonna call her Sarah. Okay, Sarah is a shopper, and she's online, and maybe she's on Facebook, or maybe she's on Google, and she sees an ad for what we have to sell. So she clicks the ad, she goes to our website. As you know, we use Shopify, we love Shopify, and I'm assuming you do as well. So she lands on our Shopify store. Well, once she places an order, we have a few different options for actually fulfilling it, right? And one of them is Amazon. So we can literally go to Amazon, buy the product, have it shipped to Sarah here. We can also have Oberlo linked to our Shopify store, in which case the order would be fulfilled from a third-party supplier, most likely in China. I know not everyone is in China, but most likely we'd be dealing with a Chinese supplier. And then we also have another option here, which is using a domestic supplier. And you'll see there's like the American flag there, but when I say domestic, what I really mean is in your country. So if you're in the States like I am, then your suppliers would be in the States. If you're in Australia, your suppliers would be in Australia. If you're in the UK, your suppliers would be in the UK, and so on and so on, if you're doing business there, right? So how these models work, we'll break them each down one by one, and we'll start with Shopify plus Amazon. This means, again, you built a Shopify store. When people buy from you, you fulfill the orders through Amazon. So how does this work? Well, first, the buyer will order on yoursite.com. Okay, so just like all these models, they go to your website, they place the order, you get the money in your bank account. You then go and find that product for cheaper on Amazon.com. You then place your order on Amazon for that same product, Amazon then ships that item directly to your customer, and you keep the difference based on what you sold the item for and what you bought it for. Now, this is what's known as the arbitrage model. So Amazon here, sometimes people do this with Walmart, they do it on eBay, they do it on all these different like websites where they're basically trying to arbitrage it. They're trying to find opportunity where they can list products for more money. So this is technically drop shipping, right? So that's why I have to talk about it. This is drop shipping. With that being said, there are very obvious and clear issues with drop shipping from Amazon. So let's talk about some of them, right? First off, this model is not sustainable, and that's because there's no consistent selling products. So because your relationships here really are non-existent, your supplier relationships, there's no way of knowing if a product that you want to sell today will be in stock tomorrow. There's no way to know if it's going to be there 2 months from now. There's no long-term plan because you have no supplier relationship. So this is not a sustainable business model. Now, with this model, there's also too much manual work for small profits. And the reason I say that is because when you order the products from Amazon, you have to make sure that you're private messaging these sellers and making sure that they're not putting packing slips in and invoices and Amazon packaging, because what's going to happen then, right? The customer is going to get something from Amazon and they're going to be like, what is this? Like, I didn't buy from Amazon. Now, another big problem with this is there's no barrier to entry, because literally anyone that wants to do this right now could pause this video and go do it, because again, it's not relationship based. Another problem with this is you're going to have angry customers. Okay, and that's, again, like I said, things will slip through the cracks. Some different sellers won't see your messages, and they're going to ship your customers items in Amazon packaging. And when it gets there, they're not going to be happy. So obviously, because of all this, guys, I can't recommend this business model. And again, it's not just drop shipping from Amazon, but it's also using eBay or Walmart.com or any of them as your suppliers. That's not sustainable. It's not going to help you build a real brand. So I do not recommend this business model. But again, I wanted to describe it to you so you know exactly what you've been getting yourself into, or what you would be getting yourself into should you try this. So the next model I want to talk about would be Shopify and Oberlo, meaning using Oberlo to fulfill orders. So how this model works is same thing. You basically build your Shopify store and then you import the products that you want to sell from Oberlo. So you link it to your Shopify store, you choose the products you want to sell, you put them on your store. The buyers, right, your future customers are going to go to yoursite.com. They're going to place your orders. You then would process the order through Oberlo.com. Then one of the suppliers would ship the items to your customer. Now, Oberlo, this is important, they're not the supplier. They're not manufacturing the products. They are the middleman, right? They connect you with a whole network of different, basically manufacturers that will ship products for you. Now, the problem with this is there's a lot of them, and because of that, there's not any kind of consistency. So Oberlo is there as like this connector, but they're not the one that you're gonna go to if you get a whole bunch of defective items, right? But how this does work, just like the other models, you keep the difference between what you sell a product for and what you buy it for through Oberlo. Now, this is known as the drop shipping from China model because most people are drop shipping from China that are using Oberlo. Now, here are some issues with this, okay? First is that you're always trying to catch the latest trend. Most people that are using this model are doing it to try to find like what's like literally going on Google Trends and seeing like what's being talked about, find something quick, run a bunch of Facebook ads, hopefully get a hot product for a week or two before either it fizzles out or before it gets cannibalized by everyone else trying to sell the same things. So think things like fidget spinners and, different like sayings or like trends that people are putting on like coffee mugs and t-shirts and stuff. That kind of falls into this as well. Now, another issue with this model is that there's inexpensive products and they're often subpar quality. So in the past, I guess month or so, there's been a whole bunch of negative press kind of about this model. So I posted a link, I made a video on the YouTube channel that I'll link to here as well that talks about this. But there's an article in The Atlantic, there was a Reply All podcast, there was an article in Inc., and they were all basically from people that had bought products that were dropshipped from China that then got them, had a terrible experience, and literally gave it like major press. So it's definitely something that you should keep in mind because it doesn't make your customers happy. Another problem with this model is that there's no pricing controls. And what I mean by that is since you're basically selling for these suppliers in China, Anyone could do that, and there's no one saying like, hey, here's your minimum advertised price. Hey, here's MSRP. Meaning that if someone else wanted to sell the same product you're selling, and even if they wanted to sell it at a loss, they could do that. So, there's no pricing controls in place. There's also no branding whatsoever. So you might see this as a good thing, but personally at Dropship Lifestyle, we like to sell for other brands, established brands that people are searching for. That way we can actually capitalize on their traffic. With this, you don't have that opportunity. Now, because these items are coming from overseas, again, usually China, there's long lead times. So even if you're getting like the fastest of the fastest shipments, maybe 10 days you can get, but probably closer to 20. And guess what? Customers don't like to wait that long for products. So again, it leads to more eventually, people having bad experiences with your business, filing chargebacks, leaving negative reviews, telling people they had a bad experience at your store. And again, with this, there's no barrier to entry, because if someone wanted to sell all the same products that you're selling with this model, they could do the same exact thing tomorrow. And like I mentioned earlier, there's really no quality control assurance from the suppliers. And when I say that, like, I'm sure there's, some suppliers make good products. I'm not saying it's all crap, but because there's just such like a mass of people, there's not any great way to guarantee that what you're getting, or more importantly, what your customers are getting, are what you actually think it's going to be. And guess what? If your customers start receiving items that you're drop shipping to them from China and they're not what they thought it was going to be, what are you going to do? You're not shipping it back to China. Good luck getting your money back. Like, things like that go south a lot. So keep that in mind. And obviously, again, guys, because of that, this model, I don't recommend either. So just know that when you watch the Dropship Lifestyle channel, when you go to dropshiplifestyle.com, we're never talking about these models because I don't endorse them. Now, the next one is obviously going to be the one that we do use, we do recommend. With that being said, I'm not going to make it sound like, oh, it's so easy, there's no negatives, because there are some. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of that one as well. And that one, guys, is actually using domestic suppliers. So here's how that works. And I mentioned this earlier, but if you're in Australia, use suppliers in Australia. If you're in New Zealand, use suppliers in New Zealand. If you're in Singapore, use suppliers in Singapore. But here's how this model works. You choose your niche. So we build niche specific stores, not shopping mall type stores. And then you find your future competitors, people that are selling the products that you want to sell. Once you find them, you get approved to sell for legitimate brands. So there is a barrier to entry here, because you actually have to have conversations with these suppliers in order for them to say, yes, you could sell our products. There is a barrier to entry. And again, you might see that as a negative. I see it as a positive, but just know that's something that comes up here. Now, just like with the other models, the buyer, your customer, is going to order on yoursite.com. Then your suppliers are going to process the orders. So if you have 20 different suppliers on your site and someone orders a product from supplier A will ship that item directly to your customer. Then, like I mentioned, they ship it right there. You keep the difference, just like with all these other models. Again, they are all drop shipping, so there are a lot of similarities. Now, this model, guys, we call it the Dropship Lifestyle model. Again, items do ship fast. They're typically delivered within 3 to 5 days because the suppliers are local, so customers are happy. And a good thing about this too is if there are ever any issues, something, let's just say, is damaged while in transit, something's not, maybe it's like a manufacturer defect, then guess what? It can go back to the supplier because there's someone local, and that's just how this business works. They actually deal with their products because their goal is to build great brands. We are selling for established brands. Now, here are some of the issues with drop shipping from domestic suppliers. Like I said, I'm not going to make it all, this is all amazing for everyone. So with this, a lot of time goes into market research. Niche selection and market research are the foundation that your entire business is going to be built on. And this isn't something where we just pick a few products, build a website, and hope we get sales and see what happens. Like, if you want to do this right, the bulk of your time is going to go into your research and niche selection up front. So don't think you're going to, push a button and start making money with this. Now, with this, you also need to build your website before you actually apply to sell for suppliers. So it's kind of like a little weird for some people. Like, why would I build a website if I don't know I have suppliers yet? And it's because, again, the suppliers that we want to work with here, they don't just approve anyone, and they're not going to approve you if you don't yet have a website in place. So you do that first. You do it with demo products. With something we teach in Dropship Lifestyle, but you definitely do that first. Now, with this, you also need to earn the trust of top tier suppliers. Again, this is relationship based. So you don't just get approved from day one. I mean, you can, I'm not gonna say you can't, but you need to earn their trust, especially for the gold suppliers. And to put it simply, this takes real work to get started. So with this model, they're not burner stores. You really are building a real business here, and expect to put time in up front because it's a real business. Again, it's not something where you're spinning a wheel and seeing what happens. You're building something of value here. So because of that, guys, obviously I've been doing this stuff full time for I think 12 years now. And I'm a big fan of hard work and entrepreneurship and getting what you deserve for putting the time in. That's what this model does take. But because of that, I recommend it. It's what we do. It's what our students do. So wanted to share this with you so you understand the 3 models. And so you really know what you're getting yourself into when you follow Dropship Lifestyle. So let's come back to this image we had before, right? And we had our little emoji woman, Sarah. She comes to our Shopify site. She buys an item. How do we want to fulfill it if we want to build a real lasting brand? Like we discussed, guys, it's not going from Amazon. It's not going from Oberlo. We are going to use domestic suppliers. That is the winner. So I hope you found this valuable, guys. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Let me know with a comment. Remember, I am going to pick a random comment next week on Thursday, and we're going to ship that person one of these Dropship Lifestyle hoodies for free. So pretty cool, something we're trying. Again, comment below for a chance to win. And with that being said, guys, I will see you all next Thursday for our next episode of Dropship Weekly. Thank you, everybody.